We're live here on the Monsters of Rock Cruise, and so this is a lineup of guests that I didn't know was happening up until 30 seconds ago, ladies and gentlemen, but it's quite significant. We have here Brian Wheat from Tesla, everybody. We have here in the middle a hero to both of these guys, and many on this ship, the legendary Pat Travers, ladies and gentlemen.
No doubt about that.
And in a scenario that Brian just thought he's going to have to revive you or what? Because what I'm about to say is unbelievable. Joining us right now with Brian Wheat here is former Tesla guitarist Tommy Skeoch, ladies and gentlemen, who is on this ship with his own band called Resist and Bite that kicked ass last night in the theater, although Brian, who went to see you, was just saying your guitar needed to be louder.
Yeah, well, we just talked about that, but we're having fun, so we just do what we do, you know.
You got another show tonight to do.
Yeah, we'll crank it up there, huh?
The guitar will be plenty loud tonight. Brian and
I'm going to make sure Tommy's guitar is turned up.
Brian's going to come in and do sound, he said.
Nice. You know me, I like to swing that bat, you right?
I said, calm down, Brian.
Okay,
all right.
Fuck.
How long has it been since you two have seen each other?
Been years. I think I saw him last night for the first time.
16
14
years?
Yeah, I don't
15?
know. 16 years.
Oh,
it's been a while. And, you know, everyone just thinks, everyone thinks like we hate each other and all this stuff, and it's just not true, you know? I mean, I think when I left, there was maybe some weird stuff going on and maybe things were said, but it's... You know, he's my brother. I've known him forever, and we've just did a lot of stuff, a lot of great stuff together, and there's always that, you know. I don't throw that away either.
No,
well, I remember when I first met Brian, this is Pat, he came to see me in Santa Rosa, right?
No, the boardwalk.
Oh,
Sacramento.
the boardwalk.
I came the second night.
Right.
I was punting the second
night. And
nice.
You didn't come up to Santa Rosa?
I did the next night.
Oh, yeah. And that was 1992 or 93.
No, we were making Psychotic Supper.
Yeah, that's
90.
right.
And I played you Edison's Medicine.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, that's when
That's when you first
Tommy.
met?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would meet you.
Through Brian is how I met you.
And they were confusing times for you guys because... You'd been so successful and worked so hard, and it just, you know.
It was a weird time, wasn't it?
Yeah, you get.
What's that, Psychotic Supper period you're talking about?
Yeah, that was.
But what's weird when I hear that about bands is out of that.
Our best album.
Always comes great records.
Yeah.
Out of tension or drama or, you know, you hear about Aerosmith loaded out of their mind on drugs, but Rocks is the best record, you know? So, I mean, for Tesla... Psychotic Supper may be my favorite Tesla record. I don't know where it lands.
Mine.
For you, Tommy, it is,
think so.
and you, Brian, as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're just saying, Pat, saying too, that it was a weird time, but it came from that. What do you think it is? The tension manifests itself in the music, or?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know, man.
People just get tired of each other.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to say this one time, and you guys can end this, leave it. Me and him went through a lot of shit together. Okay. We learned how to play together. We wrote great songs together. We shared girls when we were young and single.
You even embarrassed Tommy.
No, I'm you know, because
I've been trying to live a straighter life lately, man.
I said when we were young and single, we're in our
Young
60s.
and dumb.
Yeah. We're not young anymore.
Brian,
single.
That goes without saying.
Right, but so I may have called him a bastard, and he may have called me a bastard, right? That's what brothers do.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know, and I wouldn't let anyone call him a bastard. And, you know, he probably wouldn't let me. But this is something that me and him did. But in spite of it all, we have this body of work that we did together.
Yeah.
And there's a mutual respect and love that's there.
Right.
And I'm glad I saw him yesterday. I was really... freaked out about it because I didn't know.
That's what Eddie told me, and I was like, Brian, why would you know what?
Because you just see the things that are said.
But there's no doubt that I, you know, talked my share of shit about Brian.
Me too.
There's times I was hating him, but again, we had a long history, a lot of great music, and seeing him last night was. My wife even said, "Is your soul?
It's good for the soul.
Good for your soul." And I says, "I think my soul was all right, but I'll admit it was kind of cool. You know, it was good to see him." You know?
It was, and honestly, I saw him and he smiled, and when he smiled, It was like, what
I've been
could you
smiling
do?
a lot lately,
I know,
dude.
it's nice to see you smile.
That's what everyone says. They're like, because I'm
You have a
always
nice
just
smile, man.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I've been depressed for the last 10 years until I got this band together.
I know
right?
about
true.
depression.
That can
We
happen.
all know depression. All three of us.
It can be a sneaky
You think I was
thing,
bad
man.
when I left, dude? You should have seen me after fucking.
I heard.
Oh god damn,
I heard about you.
son.
So, Tommy, how'd you come out the other side and get this band together? I mean, you know,
It's a great band. By
Yeah,
the way.
Resist
Thank
and
you.
Bite. They're playing on the ship. I hosted your release party in October back in Atlanta. A great set. The record is out now. Everybody should check it out. And you're on this ship playing 2 sets. Tell us about this band coming together, because you know you went through a lot. Beyond the departure of Tesla and your personal demons and all of that, you were sending me stuff. And I remember Brian, we even talked about this. You were sending me stuff that it was okay, but it
Sure.
wasn't the quality of what you're doing.
I was just kind of doing. I just kind of filling time, man. I love music, you know, so I was making music, some kind of punk stuff I was getting into, and just different stuff. But I'm not a real schmoozer type of guy, so it took. I always told my wife was like, hey, man, you got to go out and meet people and put a band together. And I'm like, it's just not my way, man. It's not, I don't go and do that. I just don't, right? So this thing happened real naturally, and that's how I like it. It just came together. I didn't have to do a thing, and then it came together like that, and it was so perfect, and the vibe and everything, it's unbelievable. But it happened very just naturally and organically, and I love it, man.
The collaboration is probably the most powerful thing when it comes to creativity.
And we had that
Like,
right from
you
the
know.
get-go,
Yeah.
too. It was
We always
fantastic.
Our best songs we all wrote together.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, seriously. I mean, when you're Shine Away, that's me, Frank, Tommy, and Jeff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try So Hard. I was sitting in Tommy's bedroom when we did that. Me and Tommy.
One take, man.
One take.
Solo.
The solos.
Try
amazing.
So Hard.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
I said you got to.
People
do that.
love that solo,
song.
too. It's
Yeah.
so funny. It's all cranky,
Yeah.
you know.
It's great solo.
Yeah.
But-
So Pat, that's interesting that you say that, because here you got Brian and Tommy talking about their days back in Tesla, the collaboration aspect. Tommy talking about his current band, how it felt, and you're saying how important that collaboration is. But you, almost your entire career, has been basically a solo artist.
Yeah.
So is that? But you, of course, you worked with Pat Thrall and other people. But tell us about your view on that.
Well,
You had
and you know,
Mars.
for a long time, I felt burdened by being the only guy trying to write the music, and that just drives you crazy. But when you get somebody else, and sometimes it doesn't even need to be another musician, an engineer, or a producer, and you start to bounce ideas around, because you know, when you're doing everything yourself, you always start to second guess yourself as well.
And it's hard to
right?
stay excited that way. When you're with someone else, man, there's a real excitement, connectivity that happens when you're doing music like that.
And they can point out parts that you might be overlooking, or come up with another little twist on something, and then that sparks you, and you go, yeah, great. So, but I think writing or create, whatever type of creativity it is, having collaboration is super important.
You know, I'm curious about you guys, because Pat, you probably got about, I don't know, roughly 7 to 10 years in terms of career time on Tommy and Brian, and where Tesla started and all of that. And we're all different people now. Brian, you just referenced it. You know, everybody grows up, everybody changes, everybody evolves at some point. But as far as playing is concerned, as players, Brian, you as a bass player, Tommy, Pat as guitar players, how has your playing evolved? How has your playing changed since when you first started?
I just learned how to play last week.
I was going to say that.
You know what?
Yeah, I did too.
That's
about-
how it is, man.
yeah,
I'm
about a year ago.
constantly learning, man. I mean, I feel like I just keep getting better, and I work at it harder now that I'm
Yeah.
older than I did when I was younger. Because
Me
when I was
too.
younger, like Brian would say, I just wanted to fuck chicks and do dope, man. That was it. And now it's just different. It's just I really get into the music and my actual playing better. I don't know if I'm necessarily bad. I got a weird style, but yeah, I think I'm better now.
You have your own style.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
Definitely,
about it.
Definitely.
I've always said that.
That's
He
true.
plays, you know it's him.
It's like no one else. I
and
think.
Pat as well. And
Definitely.
And me to a certain degree, even though I'm ripping off Paul McCartney. But there's not a lot of guys that want to rip off Paul McCartney. They don't see the value in it. They want to play like.
I see the value
yeah, I know.
in it.
We were huge fans of Pat before we
Yeah.
met him. I mean,
Seriously.
back in the day, I mean, you know, he was huge. We loved him, man. big influence on me.
I'll tell you guys how I met Pat. So, at the pretty much the height of Tesla's career, we were making Psychotic Supper, and Love Song was a big hit, and Signs was out, and that was before. So we were pretty big at the time. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to use this celebrity. I'm going to go meet my hero, one of my heroes. I have a couple heroes: Paul McCartney, Pat Travers, Freddie Mercury, and Jimmy Page. And I've met all of them except Freddie Mercury, unfortunately. And friends with two of them and acquaintance with one of them. But so I go to this little club in Sacramento called the Boardwalk, and this guy, Pat Butler, who used to bring us dope.
I remember Pat Butler.
Of course you do, Tommy.
Masquerading as a sound man, right?
Yeah.
I said, and he was running sound. I said, dude, I want to meet Pat Travers. Take me back in the back room, please. I'm like giddy. I'm like a kid. And I walked back there, and I said, Pat, this is Brian from Tesla. And he said, how you doing? I said, hey, man, big fan, cool. So we just hit it off, and I think I said, hey, man, can I have your number or call you sometime? And you went, yeah, sure. Because I've always, through all the years, through all the shit, Tommy, my first divorce, everything, I've always called Pat and said, hey, man.
That's true.
He's like a big brother. Like, hey, can you get, even though we don't see each other as much as we used to, we don't talk to each other, it's like me and Joe Elliott, right? Yeah. It's the same thing. He's like a big brother to me. So he's seen all this.
Yeah.
Firsthand. He was there the whole time.
You don't even want to know my thoughts on the whole thing. I'm not going to say nothing.
On what?
Well, go ahead.
Listen, I think it's pretty simple, really. People,
Pat, move your headset up just a little bit. Your mic got low. There you go.
People do get a little tired of each other, and
fuck yeah, man.
And I don't think also sort of grudges and things start to develop and never get resolved.
Being in a band is fucking
and then
hard.
It just
It's
takes
very hard. When you have five,
yeah.
like Pat, you say Pat, it was Pat, right? It's a Pat Travers band. Tesla was five hard-headed motherfucking individuals.
It's hard, man.
Hard-headed, every one of them. Me, him, Troy, Frank, Jeff, all very, very headstrong people. You try to make a decision with five fucking people like that. It's hard. You guys read my book? Now you know why I have autoimmune disease.
Is it any different now for Tesla than it was then?
Some days.
Are there days that's just as hard?
Fuck yeah.
Is it really?
Absolutely.
Tommy, being in a new band, Resist and Bite, with these guys that you're with now, how is that dynamic?
It's kind of the same thing. I mean, we argue and stuff, but it's kind of, this band is very much like how Tesla was. I really love these guys. We all get along, and we do argue and all that. But you know what? What I just said is what we always say. We kind of laugh and just go, you know what? Being in a band is fucking hard.
It is.
After we just get done fucking yelling at each other about whatever this and that, and then we say, sorry, man, and we move on. And that's pretty much how it is. Now, me and Brian went about 12 years before that happened or something, but,
Yeah, and we also went 5 years before that.
But I always knew in my heart if I ever saw you,
You knew.
I didn't ever trip on it.
I knew and you knew. Me and you know everything.
It ain't no thing.
These guys know what they read or what someone says.
Something
or
like that.
Brian said this about Tommy, and Tommy said this about... But me and you, we know.
But I like to think that no one really cares, too. Who cares?
I don't care. I'm just glad you're lying.
Well, thank you, sir. Me too.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're fucking here.
Are we all happy that Tommy Skeoch's still alive, right?
And me.
And Brian, and me. Hey,
and Eddie.
We're all happy to wake up.
I could have killed him a couple
He
times.
could have probably, yeah, absolutely.
That Guns N' Roses thing.
I didn't have anything to do with that. That was Frank.
Yeah, exactly. You said some days is it hard? Yes. I didn't go because I had a fire.
Oh my gosh.
Axel still don't talk to me.
Come on, they're fine with that. Are you kidding me? I don't even remember what that was about. It was Frank.
I'm not going to dredge it up.
I will.
I know you will. That's more.
Frank.
That we had a nice.
Frank
interview.
said it was going.
Stop it.
It's not. It's
Stop.
nothing.
Stop. Edit.
You know what? In no universe I think I'd be sitting here with Brian and Tommy on my radio show, so I will stop.
Thank you.
I will stop.
And 3 days ago, I didn't think I'd be sitting here with you and Tommy.
Neither did I. That's
This
pretty
is
awesome.
totally spontaneous, man.
I like
the
it.
whole thing. It's the way it should be.
Now you were telling me something, Brian, about Pat being because Rick Allen's going to be coming up
Yeah,
here.
where
in a
is
little
Rick?
bit.
Christian?
But you were saying
Tommy paints, by the way. Tommy paints.
I like to do art. Yeah.
Tommy,
Seriously,
you paint too?
Yeah, I mean, his mother's a painter. His
she's
stepfather's
great.
a painter.
I love art.
He's
but
an artist, dude.
my stuff doesn't look as polished as Brian, but I like it. I have fun doing it.
I didn't know you did that. Yeah. All right. Well,
you know me. I'm a slick guy.
Yeah, man.
Brian knows a
You're
guy that
raw.
might know a guy that might be able to do something with you there.
Why not?
But you were telling me there's a connection with Pat because with Def Leppard.
Right.
And
So,
go ahead.
Rick Allen's first tour with Def Leppard on Through the Night was supporting Pat Travers. The second show they did was in Sacramento, California, the Memorial Auditorium. I was there. I saw it. Our first tour, the tour our first tour was with David Lee Roth, but everyone equates our first tour with Hysteria was with Rick Allen. So the synergy, right? Or whatever you call it, the 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Tommy, you're smarter than me. What is that? You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
I'm wrong about that, Brian.
But it's like Pat Travers, Def Leppard, Tesla, Pat Travers, Tesla. Rick Allen, where you at, buddy?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not here. Well, we'll get him on. He's scheduled for 3:20, so one of you guys will have to leave.
I haven't seen him forever either.
So
man.
we
Well,
can
stick around.
Oh,
we got to go?
Well, no, we don't have to go.
Paul
But,
Olive or
no, we'll
somebody?
just
No.
get a mic for
I'll
Rick.
let.
I'll step out. And you guys do your
Hold
thing.
on. Whatever we got to do, we'll figure it out during the break. But we could put somebody on that mic. Actually, I just realized.
Yeah.
But
'Cause me and Rick want to talk about our art.
we'll
We're
talk
art
about
brothers.
your art. Yeah, for sure.
And
I
Tommy's new
got to
art.
go change strings anyway. So.
All right, so one thing, Pat. One thing though, I got to ask you.
I love this
before
guy,
you
man.
leave.
I love Pat Travers.
And I got to say this. Pat? So you started coming on this cruise a few years ago. I don't know which one.
About 3 years ago.
3 years
I
ago.
think, yeah.
And I had seen you a couple times, but I got to say this, and it's the God's honest truth. Every musician that was on the ship the first time you came on, all would come up to me. Jesus, did you see Pat Travers? So after all these decades,
Boy
you
can
are
play.
Fucking guy is fuck.
kicking ass.
And he does not use a pick.
Neither does Richie Kotzen, which I saw him, which was ridiculous last night as well.
Neither's Jeff Beck.
No.
So
Guitar players like that can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I mean,
Here's a interesting story, though, about Jeff Beck and the guitar pick. The very first show I ever played in London after I was living there was at the Marquee Club in Wardour Street in Soho.
We played.
Famous Marquee. And we were opening for a band called Up, UPP, which was a 3-piece keyboard band. Some way Jeff Beck was producing them. So he was at my very first show in London, right? And he got up to jam with the band, and like the backstage door is right behind the drums, you know. So I got it open a crack, and I'm watching Jeff, and he goes, "Anybody got a pick?" And I went, "Here you go, Jeff." So I was 21, very first show in London, England. There's Jeff Beck, and I'm giving him my guitar pick.
Ah, look at that.
Yeah, but he doesn't use them anymore.
So I got to ask you this before we let you go, Pat, and this always comes up, but I don't know if I told you this part of the story. So one of this all-time great Pat Travers songs, "Snorting Whiskey, Drinking Cocaine."
no doubt.
One of the most kick-ass songs still.
Anthem.
So you've told that story about the origins of that phrase, but if you can indulge us one more time, and I have something I want to add to it. But that story was actually Pat Thrall that said that, right?
It was. We used to, when we were rehearsing for the Crash and Burn album, we would start around 2 in the afternoon at this big rehearsal studio in North Miami. But I wasn't that fussy if people didn't get there exactly at 2, and I had things. I had my 4-track tape. I was working on songs. So Pat's not there by 2. He's not there by 3. He's not there by 4. Around 5 o'clock, the big studio door gets kicked open, and here comes Pat Thrall with his girlfriend. And they're just like kind of, doing this weave, this little wobble. And I said, "PT, what have you been up to?" And he goes, snorting whiskey and drinking cocaine. And
That was it, man. That's so badass.
I said, that's a song.
Pat Thrall's a badass guitar player too,
Pat,
man. He's
my
badass.
favorite guitar player.
God, he's awesome.
Did you write it right then, or did you?
I already had that guitar riff, so I just immediately put the two together.
Classic.
It took about 12 minutes to write that song.
So listen to this. I don't know if you know this. I might have mentioned this to you. Do you know anybody who has ever snorted whiskey?
Yeah, I think Ozzy.
What did Ozzy snort?
No, yeah.
You snorted whiskey?
No,
Brian?
I
told you a story. Yeah, I have.
Eddie has.
I
yes.
have.
Nice, Eddie.
Not involuntary. It came out my nose.
I was snorted some Dramamine yesterday. I chopped it up.
I think that at some point in time, both Ozzy and Tommy Skeoch have snorted everything, right? What happened you snorted, Tommy?
Fire ants.
Snort ants.
Fire ants.
Just
I think
Dramamine
Ozzy
yesterday.
did the fire ants, right?
Dramamine.
No, it came out my nostril. I was snorting the other stuff.
Right.
And I used to drink meringue or
Glenfiddich, yeah.
And I took this big shot with my friend Peter, and it came back out my nostrils, and it burnt like a son of a bitch.
All right, so let me tell you my story. Let me tell you this story about
And
this.
he knows Peter too.
And I've got video of this to prove it that I can show you. But so a good friend of mine, Danny Coker. Everybody's seen the show Counting Cars?
Yeah, I know
channel.
Danny.
So Danny's a good friend, great rock fan, has a rock band himself. So he was in Oklahoma, and I happened to be there, and they were playing at his band called Count 77 was playing. So afterwards, we were all at the same hotel. So we're all in the lobby of the hotel, and one of the songs that Danny plays in his band is Snorting Whiskey, right? So we're all at the bar, and we're all having some drinks, and I go, man, I said to Danny, I go, man, that was a kick-ass version you guys did of Snorting Whiskey. He goes, oh, yeah, man. He goes, you know, you can actually do that. And I go, I said, get out of here. And we had already had a few in us at this point. He's like, yeah, man, you can do it. It gives you a hell of a fucking buzz. And I was like, no, come on. Sure enough, he gets a bottle of whatever whiskey, a little glass, and a little mixer straw, the thin little straw. And he's like, come on. And we we were like human Beavis and Butthead snorting the whiskey. And son of a bitch, it burns, but it does get you whacked.
It's the first time for everything. I'm going in tonight, man. Fuck yeah.
And you thought he was nuts.
That's a
Nathan?
It's a cheap drunk there.
We have to talk after.
I just said, Tommy, you were doing so well up until you sat down with all of us. You know, Tommy was doing so well. He was like, now we're setting him off on the wrong path again, talking about snorting and drinking and this and that.
Well, it's better. Look at a little alcohol and some pot or something. I'm okay, man. I fucking can't be doing that other shit. Dramamine. Don't snort Dramamine.
No.
What's that like?
You can snort. Why would you snort?
It's a joke because people take it for seasickness. I snort it, but I didn't.
Oh, all right. So listen, let me get a break in here.
I'm sick. I'm still sick, man. Sorry.
But Tommy, I think that's one of the. Besides your great guitar playing, that's one of the reasons why we love you, man. It's just,
he's honest, right?
He's honest, and you never know what you're gonna.
He's creative.
I told Tommy a story the other day when I saw him in Atlanta. I go, you remember this? It was the Into the Now tour for Tesla. You guys are playing the Beacon Theater.
That was a great record and a great tour.
Great record, and you guys were. First of all, you're playing the Beacon Theater. I'll never forget the only band I ever saw in my life who had a giant beer cooler on stage on the drum riser.
Hell yeah.
There was like the big one, like the ones you see on the back of a camper, was on the drum riser.
Yeah.
Like not like on the side of the stage, like right there.
It was more important than the amps.
But then after the show, Tommy says to me, he goes, come on, Eddie, get on the bus. I got something for you. I go, what do you got? It's like, and I've never done drugs, so I'm like, oh man, what is this guy going to break out? I'm not doing this. And he goes, you kept going. I got 5.7 or something. I go, the fuck are you talking about? It was beer. You had just come over the border from Canada.
Strong beer, man.
And he brought it, and now that shit's everywhere, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But that was a thing
Molson
then.
Canadian
like
or
I
Labatt's.
forget. It was good though, but no natural ice or some shit like that. Yeah. It was crazy.
All right, so Pat, we're going to let you go change your strings or get your picks or whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Rick
Is Rick here?
Rick just sent the text. He's going to be here any second. So let's get a commercial break in. and we'll talk to Rick Allen of Def Leppard, joining whoever is still sitting with us here. But Pat's going to get out of here. Pat Travers, everybody go see him.
Thank you, guys. This was awesome.
Anything you want to promote, Pat?
Well, we do have a new record coming out called The Art of Time Travel. It won't be released for a little bit, but we have a single too called Push Yourself. It's on Cleopatra.
Okay.
So we're very happy about that.
Look forward to that. And Tommy, you're leaving?
Yeah, I'm out. We're going to see you, I guess, for the thing later when you're done, right?
You guys go see Tommy play.
Resist and Bite, everybody.
Yeah.
Check
Go
out the
see
record.
Pat play.
Tomorrow.
And go see my boy Alex play.
Yeah.
You guys
Alex,
know who the fuck's
too.
Alex. You're
Everybody
gonna-
listening around the country
Okay.
that's, these
And-
guys look for dates coming to you.
And
You're not
tonight-
leaving yet, Brian.
No, I'm gonna stay with Rick. And if the sound guy's out there, if I see you tonight, you don't turn Tommy's guitar up, I'm gonna jack you
That's
up.
awesome. Thanks, Brian.
Hey, man.
You're welcome, Tommy.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you,
Thank you.
Pat.
Thanks for having me.
Brian Wheat's going to continue to hang, and Rick Allen should be here in a second. We'll be right back with more from the Monsters of Rock Cruise. There you have it. Brian Wheat, Tommy Skeoch together on the radio, ladies and gentlemen. First time in probably 15 years. We'll be right back.